Hello guys and welcome back to the Quick Start AngularJS course. Well, it's time to discuss about filters and animations. You can format or transform your data using functions. For example, I would like to format the date. I can call the function and pass the parameters like this. But then you need to write this function on your scope object. Wouldn't it be good if we can write something like this? A filter is nothing but a global function which can be invoked in a view with a pipe character, and the parameter required by that filter can be separated with a colon. So, what are the advantages you get out of it? You don't need to write the function on scope, so it's readily available in any template and offers more convenient syntax if we compare to the function. Not only this, you can chain multiple filters like this. Angular provides us with two different types of filters, formatting filters and array transforming filters. We have different formatting filters like currency to format with currency symbols, date for formatting dates, number to format number with decimal places, lowercase and uppercase are self-explanatory. We have three different filters operating on an array. Limit to shrinks an array to specified size. Filter is a general purpose filtering utility, and order by is used to sort an array. If this filter seems insufficient, we can create our own. Sounds interesting? So let's format some of our views with formatting filters first. Okay, let's run our application in browser. This number displayed here is actually price of the book, and we don't know which currency it is. So let's format it with a currency filter. Let's open our book-list.html partial and find expression where we are displaying price. Okay, here. Let's format it with a currency filter. To use any filter, we need to write pipe character after the expression. So this is our filter name. Next, if we need to pass any parameters, use colon and then the parameter. So we have formatted it with a currency, say rupees. Isn't it simple? Let's refresh the application now. Here it is. The number is not only formatted with the currency, but it has also added the decimal point. We need the same changes to the cart view also. So let's open cart list.html and add the same filter. Let's refresh. Add one book. Go to the cart. It's working fine. Let's format this binding value to an uppercase filter. Okay, so we add the filter. Let's refresh and see. Nice, it's also working fine. Next, let's work on array transforming filters. We are showing 6-7 books here in this view. But what if there will be 50 books? User has to scroll and search for the book, right? So we have already created one text input field for the search here. It's time to code it now. When we enter something in this text field, we want to show the books matching to the text entered. So what we want is this text entered here to be searched in all the properties and in all the books. That means we need to search through an array of books. We will use generic filter to filter the array. There are two simple steps involved in this. First, let's add ngModel directive to our search field and refer it as search string. And add a pipe, then filter, and the filter criteria. So we are saying books array, please use search string as a filter criteria and check through all the properties in books array and return filtered array to repeat. Let's run and test in the browser. First, search with the name. Great, we are getting the filtered data. Next, let's try with the publisher. Okay, good. Okay, let's try one more search with the book details. Nice, so the search is working fine and you can see how easy it is to achieve in Angular. Finally, it's time to add some wow to our application with animations. Let's do it in the hyper speed. If you know CSS transitions, well, then you already have knowledge of Angular animations. There are three different ways we can achieve animations in AngularJS: CSS transitions, CSS keyframe animations, and JavaScript callback animations. We will see the basics of CSS transitions. If we want to use animations, we need to include a separate script file angular-animate.js and load the module called ng-animate. Nice, Angular itself is modularized. Directives like ngView and ngRepeat triggers different events during their life cycle. For example, when new partial gets loaded into the ngView directive, it triggers an event called ngEnter. And when the partial leaves the container, it triggers ngLeave event. We can use these events to animate our HTML elements. Let's use the events triggered by our ngView directive. First, we will add a class with say container to this and open the app.css file. I'm pasting some CSS transitions code here. Let's understand this. As I said, ngView triggers an event called ngEnter when new partial enters into it. So I'm using that trigger as a class name here. This is the from state. The second CSS state, ngEnter active, is a to state. So what I'm saying here is when new partial enters the ngView container, make its opacity 0. And animate its opacity to 1 using CSS transitions here. So whenever you need to have animations, you can use these two states to animate the element. Let's run and see. Wow, can you see that? Our partials are fading in nicely here. Let's move to the card view. Right, it's also fading in nicely thanks to ng-animate module. Isn't it simple? Let's use the same event of enter and leave when we search for the book. You can see here when I'm searching, the items are entering and leaving the DOM. We can use these events to hook an animation to it. Okay, some CSS changes I need to do first. I'm giving my book class the position of a relative because I want to animate the position property. Okay, so let's start with the leave event first, from state and to state. Let me copy and paste the code I have created for this. So what am I saying here? When the book element leaves the DOM, Angular, please animate its opacity from 1 to 0 and also change its left position from 0 to 600 pixels. Let's see this in the browser. Let's search. Here it is. Can you see the real wow coming in our application? Okay, next step. When the book enters into the DOM, I'll copy and paste this same code and change it to the enter instead of leave. Just reverse the opacity and left properties. Run and test. Fantastic! Wow, it's working good. Okay guys, we have implemented nice search feature along with fantastic animations in this lecture. Let's wrap it up with some final finishing touches. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.